community partners and our allies in the Assembly and the Senate that are here today on this important issue. My name is Steve Lawton, and I am the president of CWA Local 1102 here on Staten Island. 12 years ago, our union was contacted by workers at the E-ZPass call center who were interested in unionizing so that they could achieve some sense of job security in the fast-changing and emerging industry of electronic tolling. They were optimistic that unionizing would afford them the level of economic stability that could take them to the end of their working lives and allow them to enjoy the fruits of their labor in retirement. I am here to give voice to the customer service agents that deal with angry commuters on a daily basis as they stay calm and unscripted. The finance team, who with precision account for all the deposits and financial transactions for the entire New York State tolling system. The correspondence workers who send out thousands and thousands of letters each and every day to consumers, and the tags department that is tasked with unloading and sending out boxes of E-ZPass tags. They work in a high stress environment, are held to high standards, and yet they live with anxiety of having to keep up with production and work standards in order to keep their pay high enough to survive. So many of them are working moms who have to make the tough choices to leave their children in extended care so that they could earn a living. A good amount of the workers are immigrants and first generation Americans. So many are from Sri Lanka, and despite lacking sufficient health care, have remained loyal to their work and their employer. Others are college students with big dreams, only to see their dreams deferred by the reality of today's job market and the student debt that limit their potential. These are the workers that are at E-ZPass right now. Through my work with this group, I've come to understand the difficulties of life for so many who aren't born into privilege, who desperately search for work and eventually found themselves working for a corporation that serviced New York's E-ZPass system. A stroke of good luck or fortune, perhaps. Make no mistake, a good customer service agent is a highly skilled worker. They handle complicated situations with frustrated commuters in a very fast amount of time. Day after day, they spend long hours looking into a computer with headsets on. It takes patience, competence to have a longevity in a field that can eat away at a person mentally, physically, and emotionally. My members are human beings. They're good people. They are skilled, and they are New Yorkers, and they matter. Let's be clear. A decision to break up the E-ZPass system into 3 separate contracts does not increase competition, nor will it create better customer service levels. It only undercuts labor costs for the operation and will ultimately diminish the employment level of workers throughout New York State. The whole premise of one company outbidding the other can only be achieved by decreasing labor costs. And in this case, that will be through deunionization. What makes this action even more horrible is the timing. Through the trauma of COVID-19, our members continue to service the public. Now they are saying to themselves, wait a minute, I'm an essential worker. I was forced to work during the shutdown. Why is the state turning on me? Adding injury to insult, over the last year, we've heard our state leaders speak about contributions of the essential workers and the realization that systemic racism has put Black and brown workers in more dangerous work conditions with less protections and less compensation. They say we need to change our policies to combat inequalities, yet here we are, victims of a public policy that will send our workers back to the unemployment line. This plan will hurt Black and brown workforce the most. We must not allow current E-ZPass workforce to be upended by a process that is completely speculative in its outcomes. We are the ones with the experience and the talent. Closing the facility to start a whole new one somewhere else does not mean that the goals of the plan will be met. In fact, it's likely that New Yorkers will lose a level of service that they currently have with no in-person customer service centers and a less experienced workforce in less stable working conditions. Mark my words, if this plan goes through, we will be reading about the failures of the E-ZPass provider one day, except the next time it'll be 3 different companies blaming each other instead of one. We are hopeful that the New York State Thruway Authority Board will think deeply about the realities of this plan and rethink the decision. We must lift up the experience and contribution of all the workers who are currently working to keep our state commuting on a daily basis. So I want to now introduce our next person to come up and speak. And I'm going to ask Assemblyman Cusick, who has really helped us lead the way here on the Staten Island contingent, getting us all united. So I'm going to hand it over to Assemblyman Cusick.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to CWA for putting this together. This is very important to the workers, to Staten Islanders, and to the state of New York. This is not the time, as we get heading out of a pandemic, we should not be eliminating 300 jobs. That should not be the goal of the state or our agencies, to eliminate jobs when we really need to improve our economic growth in New York, get people working and get people out into society. Eliminating these jobs is not the way to go. I can speak firsthand on how important these jobs are as an elected official. When we get calls from constituents who count on this E-ZPass office to get them through the maze of paying their bill or getting their E-ZPass service, or talking to somebody, a real person, to get them through their issues that allow them to live their life, go to work, get over the bridges. This is something that affects their daily life, and we need the important workers, the essential workers at E-ZPass, to stay on Staten Island to provide that much needed service. And as I said, as an elected official, I see their work every day, because the same folks who are calling our offices, the elected officials' offices, for help in constituent service, they're calling this E-ZPass center in Staten Island, and they are a lifeline to many folks so that they can provide for their families by getting to work and getting throughout this city. So I am proud to be here with my colleagues, with CWA, to implore the MTA Port Authority, New York State Thruway Authority, to rethink this, to work with us, and to keep these so much important jobs, these very important jobs, here on Staten Island. And it's important to the people who work there to keep their jobs, and it's important to the people who have provided the service of E-ZPass, that they have this lifeline in Staten Island. Thank you so much, Steve and CWA, for fighting this fight, and I look forward to continuing this with you and my colleagues.
And thank you, Assemblyman Cusick, for leading the way with the Staten Island. We have a great coalition, bipartisan coalition, and that really makes me proud to be a Staten Islander. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Steve.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Assemblyperson Joyner, who is also going to speak on this issue. Thank you, Assemblyperson.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank CWA and, of course, my good colleague, Mike Cusick, for their partnership and leadership during this critical time. You know, we're well aware of the quote that the true measure of a person is where they stand during a challenge. And with CWA, they never shy away from a challenge, especially at this critical moment. And we know that we are at a critical moment where we could be potentially losing 700 good paying jobs across the state, union jobs that are helping people put food on the tables. So we've all heard previously from the previous speakers that this past year has been tremendously hard on everyone. And we are all talking about rebounding as a state. How is our economic recovery going to look like? How are we going to retain our workforce? And today it's a slap in the face. How can we speak about, valuing our essential workers and then stand together on this type of issue and allow this to happen? We cannot allow this to happen. This workforce is predominantly made up of people of color and who will be out of work through no fault of their own. And we know that working families are at the heart of the New York State and everything that we do. And we should not be using tax-paying dollars to undercut good-paying union jobs. So at this critical time, we really do need MTA and the Thruway Authority to take another look before they approve of this decision. We demand them to do better, to take another look. We demand better from our state. And I'm so happy to be standing with all of my colleagues to make sure that this does not happen under our watch. We have seen our broken system through the past year and a half with, unemployment. And the last thing we need to be doing is adding another 700 jobs to the unemployment rolls. That is the last thing we need to be doing at this time. So these essential workers showed up for us time and time again, and we need to show up for them. So I stand with my brothers and sisters in Staten Island to do everything we can together collectively to prevent this decision from happening. And I'm just grateful to be here, and will do everything in my power to make sure that this decision does not go through. So thank you.
Thank you, Assembly Member Joyner. I really appreciate you standing up for our members. Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to pull up one of our members. Her name is Hope Gilmore. She is a CSR in the call center and a great member of CWA Local 1102. Hope Gilmore, please.
Hi. Hi. So I'm Hope J. Gilmore. I'm a worker at E-ZPass. I am a CSR, so I take inbound calls all day. I'm a chief steward for the call center, and I am now doing some organizing. But most importantly, besides all of that, I am my son's mommy. So this, okay. So this is affecting me really hard. To possibly not have a job and not be able to provide for my child is something I've never imagined. I've always been working. I've been working since I got my working papers at 14. I've never not had a job, really. So to find out that we've gone through this pandemic with this company and we have done so much for them and they've done so much for us, and to find out that, hey, guess what? We don't care about you. Like the MTA and the other authorities just don't care. They're just going to possibly get rid of all of our jobs after we've been there with this company for over maybe 20 years or so now. And the job has always been out here in New York City on Staten Island. That's where all of the commuters are. Most of the commuters are out here in the city. To move these jobs upstate to people that may not understand what's going on is not only going to be devastating for us, but for the customers. And to get rid of the walk-in centers means that elder people and people that aren't really good with technology will have no way to make payments, essentially. That's how they'll feel. That's how they feel now. We can't take payments over the phone because we're working remotely. If this bill goes through, 60% possibly will be working remotely, 40% in the office, as per that article that came out. How is that good customer service? How does that help anyone? Also, if you please, come here. Okay, maybe not. I was trying to get my son here. He is a toddler. He's 1. He's running around, very active. And this has been a wonderful opportunity to be able to work from home with him. This has been a wonderful opportunity to have this job and provide for him and to get the diapers at work. I won't be able to do that if this job goes away. And neither will all of my coworkers who I'm very close to at this point. I honestly, it's like a family, and I don't want to lose my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope, for giving us a first person, understanding of what you're going through and what your coworkers are going through. And we know this is hard, and this really defers your future as you're just starting to advance your family and really lay ground and roots for the future. So thank you for joining. Okay. Next up, I'd like to invite Senator Ramos, the chair of the Labor Committee in the Senate and a good friend of ours. We actually visited Senator Ramos about 2 years ago. So it's really been great to have her come aboard and help us out in this campaign. So I'd like to recognize Senator Ramos.
Hey, good morning. Good morning to everybody. Great to be here and to support the workers at 1102. We all talk about an economic recovery that's inclusive and that is fair. And we can't do that without good jobs, good union jobs that are going to allow working families in New York and especially on Staten Island to be able to make ends meet. And Hope's story, is the story of so many women and especially so many single women who are trying to raise children and depend on these good jobs to be able to afford to do so and be able to offer our children the best possible opportunities, perhaps opportunities that we were even denied. And so I really want to call on the MTA because as a mostly government agency, really, I see their role as setting an example for many other employers throughout this pandemic of what it's like to retain employees and therefore maintain the quality of service that has been available to customers. Now is not the time to roll back union our middle class. So we're hoping the MTA and our Staten Islanders employ and wages and a voice on the job. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Senator Ramos. You're a great friend to labor, and we really appreciate you amplifying our voice. Thank you so much. There are so many great community partners on this call today. And there's the next gentleman I'd like to call up is somebody on Staten Island that is very well known and has done such great work for our community. And his name is Ed Josie, president of the NAACP on Staten Island and a good friend of CWA, actually a former CWA member. So we have a long history. So Ed, if you don't mind.
Good morning. How are you, everybody? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, we hear you.
Very good. Okay, as Steve says, I'm a union member, CWA 1102, 1101 from New York City, Manhattan, Bronx. And I've walked the streets many times to save my job. Now, as president of the NAACP, we had a discussion at the last meeting last month in May. Now, the NAACP has a mission. Part of the mission is economic development, education, health, and criminal justice. Now, by losing these good jobs on Staten Island, every aspect of our mission is being violated. If you don't have a job, your economic development, personally speaking, will suffer. The community will suffer financially because you have lost your job. You cannot spend money in the grocery stores down the street. Education-wise, you might have a suffering of your child going to school. You might be going to school yourself and have to drop out of school. Health-wise, you might find you have to get on some kind of public assistance to get your health. That's being affected. Criminal justice is greatly hampered by the lack of jobs in the community. I'm not advocating anybody doing anything wrong, criminally speaking, but the truth of the matter is, when you lose your job, the crime rate might go up in your community. So that's very important. We do not like that. Also, I have to realize that every aspect of what's being done by the NAACP is being violated, as I said before. Big business understands that. Now, we've just gone through and we're still involved in this COVID-19, this virus. Staten Island has suffered tremendously financially. Now, you're going into an aspect where the people themselves have also suffered financially. So I see nothing good at all in this. We're losing jobs on Staten Island. Now, this virus has shown us that you do not have to be on the job premises to work. And that's being taken advantage of. I see no particular reason why we should lose these jobs on Staten Island. I have fought many years for my job, and I will continue to fight with CWA 1102 to keep this E-ZPass job on Staten Island. I think we should all fight for that. I applaud everyone who came out here today to speak against the removal of this E-ZPass job from Staten Island. It's very important that we keep that. We continue to fight for that job to stay on Staten Island. And I would thank you very much for having this session today, and I hope it's reaching the right ears. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Always a great friend of our union and a great friend to all of the Staten Island community. Thank you for all the work you do. Next, I'd like to introduce Assemblyman Mike Riley, who, really has been a big supporter of our local and just really supporting us. Like I said, we have a great bipartisan coalition working on this. I think it really inspires me to know that we can come together when it comes to jobs. We're all on the same team, and we all have the same purpose. So, Mike, thank you for.
Steve, thank you so much. Thank you to CWA for hosting this, and to my colleagues who have taken this head on. You know, I want to echo my legislative colleagues. This is a slap in the face to workers and all Staten Islanders. You CWA call center workers are essential for many reasons. You know the community you serve. That is invaluable, especially with cashless tolls and the issues we've seen during the rollout of those processes. This will increase the negative issues we have encountered with this automation. You guys are essential to actually helping us rectify the toll issues, the erroneous charges that many Staten Islanders have seen. You know, my own family had to go through the process. If it wasn't for your call center workers, knowing the community, knowing what's going on, who knows if we would have been able to rectify that. That was my brother. He had the issue. And I have to tell you, when you talk about bipartisanship, we have bipartisanship here on Staten Island. And I'm grateful for that, because if it wasn't for Assemblyman Mike Cusick to help me with that issue before I was even in office, who knows what would have happened. So I want you to know that we stand in solidarity, hoping that the authorities will actually reconsider this misguided plan that will hurt all Staten Island. So once again, I thank you for allowing me the opportunity, and we stand united.
Thank you, Assembly Member Riley. Great voice for Staten Island. Really appreciate your friendship. I'm gonna next call up another community partner, Mario Buenavigio. He's one of the leaders of the Port Richmond Strong Coalition or Civic Association. And Port Richmond is one of the communities closest to the center, and there's quite a few of the members in that community that are going to be affected. It's a community of small businesses and working class people. So Mario?
Yes, good morning, and I'm humbled that you reached out to me to join this important and crucial meeting. At 10:01 a.m., an employee of E-ZPass just called me on my phone, and he said, "Please speak, for myself." So I erroneously stated that I know 2 people that work for the E-ZPass office, and I was corrected by Mr. Lawton that there are quite more that live in Port Richmond, and I just met one last night, our meeting, and this morning. So the 4 people that I personally know. This decision is reckless. The New York City and New York State, you hear it every single day. They want to reopen, open up businesses, put people back to work. And now they come with this blanket option of shutting down an office, which actually is better than doing it online or waiting endlessly on the phone, which I did 2 weeks ago for those little plastic sticky things for your E-ZPass thing. I waited 43 minutes. Ridiculous. So I'm asking the elected officials to work together, which I know from the presence here that you're all on board. Bring it up a notch. This group's got your back. We'll back your play, and certainly we'll back CWA's play. Port Richmond is do not want to say that we are the middle or lower rung of the ladder. I want to recategorize that. We are the foundation of work and progress for the city of New York, and especially for Staten Island. And I take pride in that. We are middle-class people. We have middle to low-income residents in Port Richmond, and I am proud to represent, quote unquote, my constituents. I call them my community neighbors. They come with me with an issue. Mr. Lawton came to me and to support this, and I support this 150%. I will turn around my calendar to support your efforts. This is only the beginning. Please don't let this end. We have to continue the momentum. And I'm here for the 4 people that I know personally from CWA. This is a reckless action. You're destroying lives as the city and the state is about to reopen. All I could say is get it together with a better option. Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. Great friend, great work you're doing in our community. I live in Port Richmond, so I appreciate the work you do. Next up, I'm going to call up Assembly Member Charles Fall. Again, it's a lot of our members are in Charles in his district, and he's a good friend of our local. So Charles.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Super. Thank you, Steve, and to all the members of CWA for organizing this and having me here today. I'm here to stand in solidarity with all the employees at the Staten Island E-ZPass Center. It's very disappointing that the MTA will put profits over the livelihood of their own employees. And of course, you've heard the stories of many of your colleagues that are going through it, and I've heard of it from last week as well. MTA needs to really reconsider their decision to close on this center. It's clear and simple that this past year has shown that some interactions are easier for customers and staff in person. The people in this borough need a center where we can come in and have our issues addressed, and there is not one good reason to get rid of the center. I just want to let you guys know again, I stand with you. Whatever I could do to be helpful. I'm going to fight this thing to the end. And as a Staten Islander, it's really frustrating to see that the MTA wants to take away jobs from our borough like this to the end. Thank you, Steve, again.
Thanks, Charles. Assembly Member Fall, you're a great advocate for our community. We really appreciate you. Next up, we have just a couple more speakers, very few. So we're almost there. I'd like to introduce one of our members, another member who's been here quite a long time. I'd have to say maybe closing in on almost 20 years and been there since the E-ZPass program first started on Staten Island, back when we still had people actually collecting tolls, that's part of the story here. And his name is Frank Beneficino. Frank, do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience at E-ZPass?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm here today to speak for every E-ZPass employee on the project. I'm 16 plus years going into the project since like day one is going on. I'm trying to figure out why the MTA would try to take away something that's not broken. We've been there through all the years, changes. We've made profits for the MTA. Always did what we had to do. We always serviced the Staten Island borough. Why would you want to go backwards coming out of a coronavirus pandemic? You're trying to get people back to work, but why you want to take away 300 to 500 jobs? Basically, all I'm saying is we really wish you would rethink the situation and look at it and keep it on Staten Island. There are senior citizens out there that don't trust the virtual world, that need to make that payment at the walk-in center. That's right. And the walk-in center is profitable for you, for the MTA and all the other agencies. That's revenue going into your bank. All we're asking is keep the jobs here on Staten Island. As the borough grows, the jobs will grow. Why would you want to take away job growth? And once again, I speak for every call center worker, correspondence, finance, tag department. We've been there 20 plus years. There's employees there that have been there since day one. And as things grew with technology, we grew with it and we were profitable for the MTA and the agencies, and we made the money for you guys. Why do you want to take away our jobs? And we're still here for you today. Working hard, working hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for that. We appreciate you and all the years of service that you put in for the commuters of New York. We have two more speakers. The next speaker is Henry Emmanuel. He's the pastor of Abundant Life Ministries on the North Shore. I know Henry from doing work in the community, feeding our community, working together, bringing food to people that are in need of food. So, Henry.
Well, good morning to everybody. Good morning to our elected officials. I thank you for this opportunity. I'm pastor of Christ Abundant Life Ministry, also known as Calm Church, right here in the Mariners Harbor area of Staten Island. Our church is very much a part of our community, and we have one of the largest food pantry centers in New York City. And we are in support of the CWA 1102 project of seeing that, of ensuring that the ongoing mission of the E-ZPass Center stays open. And we're in support of Steve Lawton also in his ongoing mission to ensure that this center stays open. Now, the closing of the E-ZPass Center will have an adverse effect on the already marginalized communities in Staten Island, which of course are made of minority. And as a church, we serve the community. We know firsthand through experience what happens to families when there is a shutdown either by the government or a closure of a company by an organization. We know very much who will be affected greatly about it. Now, the immediate and the most visible impact will be on minority women in our community. Therefore, the closure of the E-ZPass Center will affect other businesses also in our community. It will trickle down. Businesses that serves the current workers at the E-ZPass centers. This businesses depends on these workers that are currently working at the center. And so to close the center will have an adverse effect on the community. This will set a downward slope of economic activity, resulting in additional increase in unemployment rate, especially in our community. And in some cases, there's going to be a displacement from homes, which will ultimately affect children. And so we are pleading as a church with the governor of the state of New York, all the elected officials that are in it. We are pleading with you and also the MTA to reconsider their plans and continue to keep the E-ZPass Center open for the greater good of our community right here in Staten Island. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you so much for being such a voice of light in our community and the work you do. So thank you. We have one more speaker, Senator Savino, who's always been an ally of CWA 1102 for many, many, many years, and a voice for working unionized workers in New York. She's at a funeral today, unfortunately, but we do have Jessica Spanton from her office. We know Jessica for many years as well, and Jessica's here to give our statement from the senator.
Everyone, thanks so much. The senator is so sorry she can't be here today, but I am going to read her statement to you now, and I apologize if you can't see my face as I say it because I have to click out. Hold on. Okay, the senator's statement is, I cannot disagree more with the MTA and Port Authority's decision to close the E-ZPass Service Center on Staten Island. Not only is this a disservice to our community and the over 300 employees, many of whom live on Staten Island, but there is a local economic factor as well. Taking away hundreds of good union jobs as we are trying to climb back from a pandemic is just short-sighted. I will continue to stand with the members of CWA 1102 to fight for what's right for them and all of Staten Island. And I just wanted to say, you know, our office is here for you. We will fully support you 100%. And I can say to echo what everybody else has said, it's a tremendous service that they do on Staten Island. So much of our constituent cases stem from E-ZPass issues, and without this, it's going to be a tremendous loss. So again, she's really sorry she couldn't be here today, but thank you so much to all the members and to everybody else on this call.
Okay, we just want to thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you, and thank you, Senator Savino, for always having our back. I just want to open up for any questions that the media may have or anyone may have. And if not, we are also going to put a contact in the chat for the media to reach out afterwards, but I'll open up for questions. Okay, well, again, we're going to put a contact in the chat for anybody that would like to reach out to us and follow up with us. I just want to thank all our community partners, our elected officials, our members, and everyone that made this press conference come together. I appreciate you all. And if you look at what we are doing here, this is community standing together for the workers of this community, and it's inspiring. So I thank you all, and thank you for joining. I think we're going to end at this point.